Yes, sir. Welcome back to another Trap or Die film session. I am your host of the Trap or Die podcast, Molly Mo. And listen, man, week one is here. Week one is coming went, and we got some film to talk about. Jayden Daniels is going to be our first film session of the regular season. Overall, point being against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I thought he had a solid outing. I think he showed his dynamic ability and what makes him so dangerous as a runner, but also like who he is as a quarterback overall. But I also think while he had some good moments, there was clearly some opportunities to grow. So without further ado, let's get into the film session. This isn't everything that I found in my tape, but this is a summary or narrative of what I saw. So let's get into it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Jayden Daniels film session up right now. All right, so as we get started, I want to preface this, right? So throughout the day, Todd Bowles did his thing in terms of pressure, right? He was exactly who we thought he was. Jayden Daniels faced 5+ rushers on 47% of his dropbacks, according to ESPN's Next Gen Stats. That was the second highest rate in week one. He also was pressured on 38% of his dropbacks, which was the 7th highest rate in week one. And as we showed this play, which was the 5th play of the game, we already know the swing pass that lost 15 yards, bad throw. I guess it's some nerves to start the game. It looks just like that Austin Eckler preseason throw where you're like, yo, what is going on? Can we hit a swing pass, please? But Yaya Diaby, number 0 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, on the 3rd play of the game, took advantage of Andrew Wiley oversetting, right? And Yaya has this solid speed to power that was given Wiley fits early on. It took him some time to adjust. But this is the 5th play of the game, and that is the context for what we're about to get into right now. Let's kind of run it so you can see what's going on. But part of the reasons for Jayden Daniels being drafted in Washington is just this, right? His ability to escape the pocket, his ability to make defenders pay if they aren't disciplined in their rush lanes, but also saving his offensive linemen if they do get beat. And this is Andrew Wiley again oversetting. You're going to see that problem a couple times if you watch the tape like through and through. But oversetting, Yaya doesn't necessarily do anything particular this time, right? Gives him a slight move to the outside and then gets inside and wins. But Jayden takes off. You get a gain, a 9-yard gain. You extend the drive, get yourself a first down. So here is another play, 8th play of the game, 3rd and 4. You end up seeing another Jayden Daniels scramble. But what also was done well from Todd Bowles' perspective is like his anticipation of the scheme or the tendencies, right? So you're seeing a man coverage in a sense, or what looks to be a man coverage. This actually is hard to tell per se, but it has man tendencies clearly, right? But you see Levante David in the middle of the field taking away Diami's crosser. Todd Bowles does a good job of making sure that whoever was in the middle of the field, eliminates anything crossing over the middle. That's actually going to buy the defender who has Diami Brown enough time to come down and get that coverage, right? So what are you seeing here is receivers being taken out of the play. Good play call from Todd Bowles' defense, but also just an opportunity from Jayden Daniels to take advantage of the fact that there is nobody in contain with him, but there's also nobody with their backs or their eyes on the quarterback. So he's able to make something out of nothing, essentially, and getting a big gain, converting the sticks. All right, so another instance of damn near instant pressure, right? Let's go ahead and run it, and then we'll talk about it this time. All right, so let's talk about it from the top, right? So the most important thing up front is the instant pressure that Brandon Coleman, your left tackle, number 74, right? He looks at Antoine Winfield. I think he's assuming based on Antoine's first steps is that he's coming in for a blitz. So the first thing that he does is he takes the angle set to take care of Antoine. But number 52, your second level defender, they run a little line game with 98 crashing into the guard, right? But also getting a free rush because he's able to get inside of Coleman. So now that gets Jayden Daniels off his mark in a big play. So let's kind of understand everything that we're saying. It's just the fact that while we look at Jayden in these instances, I mean, you see him being able to take off. He's making defenses pay, right? There are also some issues up front in terms of how they're processing post snap or how they're executing post snap, how we saw some of the tackles play so far, right? That is important to note. And now we get to the front side of the play, or the receivers, that also shows some instances where you would hope that somebody can win, right? And here we go at the top. This is a cover one, man coverage across the board, and all your receivers are plastered. Like, covered. There isn't nobody open. And thankfully, you do have a guy like Jayden Daniels who can take off and run like that. All right, so here are some instances as we transition to focusing on Jayden. While the offensive line had their struggles, there was opportunities where I thought Jayden as a passer, because we wanted to know like what exactly was going on downfield, right? There were opportunities to make plays downfield. I flat out think that there were just a few plays where where Jahan, good Lord, where Jayden just couldn't execute. So let's get into the first play that I have. This is a 1st and 10. It's the 17th play of the game. I like this alignment though. So you see it's a trips left, and you have Luke, Terry, and Zach in here. And 12 personnel. Zach Ertz is detached from the line of scrimmage, and you have John Bates in line, right? So you have a 12 personnel look that keeps the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their base alignment, their 34 defense or 34 front. But you're in a trips formation. And that helps when you have a good route runner like Zach Ertz, when you can do things like this, right? Now, this was the first fade throw to Terry, overthrown out of bounds, but Terry also doesn't win. He doesn't win at all. Like it's good coverage. He's unable to win in a one-on-one situation, right? But let's look at the opportunity that presents itself if you have Jayden move in his progressions, right? This is another man's coverage situation where you're seeing 5 rushers at the line of scrimmage, right? But with those 5 rushers, you don't necessarily have anybody as like your robber or your spy or anything like that. So what I'm saying is the middle of the field is open. And what does that do for Zach Ertz, right? Zach Ertz is wide open in the middle of the field. So if he was to get off his mark or get off his progression, knowing that Terry doesn't have a step, he doesn't have leverage, he hasn't stacked the defender, I think you should start moving off your progression or moving off your mark and start looking towards other receivers. And you have Zach Ertz open in the middle of the field. Now, ultimately, they do score on this drive, but every drive or every opportunity doesn't always going to lead to, like, you're not going to get a second chance in some instances, right? And I think that's important. All right, so another one where we look, it's actually the very next play. So again, you see Jayden taking off, the dynamic ability, athleticism, elite athleticism. You get the first down, you extend the sticks, right? This is a 2nd and 10. You go for 12 yards. Good play. Now, let's talk about things that you would like to see in the future. Now, there's 2 opportunities here that I think that Jayden has and that you would like to see him improve on as time moves on. Now, in the NFL, we know NFL windows are very tight. It takes a quarterback with really good timing and anticipation. You also have to have be on the same page as your receivers. You also have to be able to be really accurate, right? So let's look at the first receiver, your tight end. Zach Ertz does a really good job at the top of his route, selling that out route, right? So we're talking about Zach Ertz. He's in line, right? He's right next to the right tackle, Andrew Wiley. Top of the route, sells the out route. An aggressive Levante David bites. He breaks it in. Not only does he break it in, he settles. Like he sits for a little bit. And then he breaks out in scramble drill. So you got 2 receivers open in this scramble drill, and De'Ami Brown and Zach Ertz. But point is, you see Zach Ertz win at the top of his route, but he also settles. Like he stops right here. And when I say there's a window, you have to be able to hit that window immediately because there is another linebacker in the area. But if you can really get that ball to Zach immediately when he wins, that is a good play. But also you have Luke McCaffrey at the top of your route. at the top of the play. You got separation, and if you can hit this ball in timing and rhythm, you have an opportunity to get Luke McCaffrey the football if you want to take that route. So in this instance, you have a solid setup, and I do think from Washington's perspective, they had a solid dialed up play. You got a 12-yard run. You may have had a 6-yard catch with Zach Ertz, and you may have had a touchdown with Luke. But you see the options that are available and presented to him in Cliff's offense and how he dialed it up specifically against this zone coverage. All right, so another scramble from Jayden on this play, right? And prefacing this by saying this is actually 4 plays after the missed touchdown throw to Terry McLaurin. So let's kind of have that picture in mind where Terry was open, he got open deep, and Jayden overthrew him. Now you're in a situation where you have Terry motion into the slot from across the formation, right? So it was even, but now they have a 2-by-2 alignment, and you have Terry in the slot motioned up, right? So you see he takes off for 11, he gets the first down, but you're seeing, if you look at Terry in the slot, it's a one-on-one situation, and the safety, right, automatically bails and goes straight to the numbers. He's not able to split Terry and the receiver, the outside receiver, effectively. Terry just takes off on the over, and that's a touchdown if you can get the ball out there. But Jayden doesn't see it, and I can't tell you why he doesn't see it. I can't tell you what he's looking at, but we do see the fact that he has time. He had plenty of time to make the throw, but I'm not sure what he was saying in terms of his processing ability. All right, and another instance, this is like probably about 2 drives. Actually, I think this is the drive before things just got out of hand, honestly. And this is the play to Olamide Zaccheaus. Y'all got on me the last time I tried to say his name, and I don't think I said it right this time either. But guess what? I don't care. It's like, no, I do care. I'm sorry. Okay. So this one to Zaccheaus, clearly a contested throw, bold throw. It could have been picked off if it was any more inside. Point being, like, not overly criticism, but just saying this one is not where you want to throw the football, right? But he does recognize the man coverage is exactly what he did. So that was good pre-snap processing. But I also think that from the route combination that Cliff Kingsbury has set up on the field side in the trips alignment, right? You have a whip, and then you have a corner route from Luke and Terry respectively, right? So if you look at the field side, right, the top of your screen, you got 2 open on a 3rd and 5. So I don't know specifically the indicators that led him to start his progression on the boundary side. It may have something to do with the safety as well, right? Not being close enough to the play. So he trusts his receiver in a one-on-one to win. But I also want to know, like, exactly what would specifically lead to him starting his progression on that side. I don't have the answer, and I think that's okay to not have the answer from us that's looking at it from our perspective. But I would just like to know exactly what led him to start on that side. But point being, if we get some form of better pre-snap process or post-snap processing, maybe he does start his progressions on the 3-man side and work that high-low read, right, in man coverage. That's all I'm saying. Or maybe he thought it was cover 1. I don't know. I have no idea. It was 2-man. It was 2 single highs up top. And I think something led him to throwing that curl route. So that's that. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this film session. I hope you all enjoyed it. I think my overall takeaways is that, he didn't play poor game. I don't think he played terribly. You've seen some of the plays that he was making with his legs, right? And I think that's a dynamic nature of a Jayden Daniels when he's able to drop back. And if something isn't working out for him, take off, and I'm going to extend the drive. Those 12-yard gains are still first downs. However, as a passer, those are the areas that I highlighted. Those are the things that you would like to see him develop and grow in as time moves on. If you all know me on this YouTube channel, I'm very unbiased and I don't hold back for anybody. And I felt like this was pretty fair. I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm just saying that this will continue every single week in some form or fashion in terms of like the analysis side of Jayden Daniels' performances. So if it does seem negative, that's not my intent. But at the same time, he made some good plays that we showed in this. It's just more so you want to see more from the passing game. And I think you're hoping that things get better as time moves on. And he's starting to see things a little bit more clearly, but he's also playing with confidence and trusting his receivers, right? And they're on the same page, because that's going to make things that much better for this offense when he's able to connect in the passing game just as much as he's doing things in the run game as well. So, boom. That's going to wrap it up for us on this film session. Again, if you haven't done so, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We definitely appreciate you tapping in. And until next time, man, peace.
Trap it down, trap it down, trap it down, you gon' trap it down. Trap it down, you gon' trap it down. Damn, set, watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.